Hello YouTube, it's DrunkMonk74 here, and I'm just bringing you a quick weapon review of the AUG A3. This is just at the beginning, just going to show you how I have it set up real quick, and then we'll go into some footage and go through some of my thought process. So straight off the bat here, the main site I have is the Coyote site, and I just love this site. Love how open it is. It gives you such a great field of view when you're aiming down your sights. Nothing else really compares to it. Cobra possibly sometimes I tend to use, or possibly a hollow, but you know, 9 times out of 10 is the Coyote site. Accessory, to be fair, most of these accessories on any of my weapons I don't really throw them on. I'm not the best at hip fire, so maybe a laser beam maybe I should put on there, but to be honest, my play style, I play mostly, I'm happiest in mid range, so laser beams just fine, tend to give me away, so it's not really useful to me. The magnifier I sometimes throw on if I'm playing larger maps like Conquest or Rush or something like that, but generally speaking, I don't really tend to throw an accessory on here. The barrel, I've still got a few barrels to unlock here, but the barrel I've got equipped at the moment, the muzzle brake, I just find that absolutely fantastic. It does the job, really helps with the recoil, helps me control the weapon and gets my rounds on target. That's the main thing. I possibly, once I've unlocked it, would try the flash hider, and I've tried it on a few other weapons. It's okay, you know, and on the right weapon it could be useful, but to be honest, muzzle brake is generally my preferred barrel. Heavy barrel, sometimes I'll throw that on if I'm playing, again, larger maps like Conquest or Rush. I need my bullets to travel a little bit faster, have a little bit more accuracy, and I've got a little bit more time. Engagements are a little bit further away, so maybe I'll throw the heavy barrel on, but generally speaking, again, muzzle brake is my go-to. Same with the underbarrel, angled grip, love the grip. Really, again, helps me with weapon recoil and dealing with the mechanics of the gun. So generally speaking, you know, these are the attachments I'll probably have on a lot of my weapons. You know, I'll play around with most weapons, but I'll generally tend to find I'll be coming back to this. Obviously, the most important one, Tiger Urban Camo, makes all the difference. Give it a try. So that's the setup. That's how I got the gun set up, and well, let's just go into a bit of gameplay and see how it works out. Okay, so I guess best place to start off right now would be quick numbers. Let's crunch some numbers on the old AUG A3. So in BF4 it fires at 700 rounds per minute, max damage 25, minimum damage of 18. The drop off on damage starts at 8 meters and it tails off at 55 meters. So that's in BF4. Now in BF3 the stats were actually very similar. So you had max damage of 25, minimum damage of 18.4, drop off started at 8 meters, drop off stopped at 50 meters. So I guess basically in BF4 really the damage model isn't that different, you know, but a lot of people do seem to feel that the AUG 3 has been nerfed from BF3. It still fires the same rounds, 700 rounds per minute as it did in BF3. So personally, I don't think there's that much of a difference. And for me, if anyone is at all struggling with this weapon, if anyone's at all struggling with the weapons in BF4 or the new gun mechanics and the model, you know, the AUG A3 is a great place to start, because if you've got it set up, for me anyway, you know, one of the reasons I love using it is because it was a great weapon for me to go to and get used to and start playing BF4 and you know, get a little bit happy with the weapons and then the gun mechanics more than anything else. If you've got it set up how I have it set up, with the muzzle brake and the angled grip, you know, as you can see in this engagement, in this little bit here where I'm just engaging a few enemies at sort of like a little bit of a distance. You keep the burst fire on, you just control your fire using burst fire or your tap fire. You know, it's so easy to control this weapon, even at range. Even if someone's just poking their head out, just like these guys are doing here, you know, just if they're just poking their heads out just a little bit, you know, that's all you need. And if you can just control that fire, tap fire, you know, this weapon will get you kills at that sort of range. There is no problem with that. And even if you go a little bit, you know, not full mag dump, but you know, you dump half a clip or something, you know, with a little bit of recoil compensation, you can easily deal with that. You know, an example there right on the rooftop. You know, it is possible, and this is one of the reasons I really do love this gun, and have it set up the way I have it set up. Because if you just have it set up this way, in this manner, you can just get a few little kills. Again, at the rooftop, just up the top there, you know, the guy's just poking his head out. He's a fair old distance, you know, not hugely far away, but you know, he's not exactly in my face either. And these are the sort of ranges. These are the sort of ranges that I really do enjoy engaging at, because no, this suits my playstyle. This is how I'm happy to take my time picking a few shots, but you know, if I need to, I feel like I'm quick enough, you know, just to zoom in on a couple of enemies. I keep spamming that spot button to try and help out my teammates as well. So if I miss a shot or don't get the player I'm aiming for, at least my team have got a good chance of picking him up on the mini map, and you know, and getting a few kills themselves. So it's all about teamwork as well. But yeah, the weapon itself is absolutely fantastic. If you really are struggling with the mechanics, and they have changed the mechanics in BF4. You know, I'm sure like you've all seen videos from other YouTubers, and I think I mentioned it myself in another one. You know, one of the main things they've changed is the penalty you get for moving. You know, firing on the move is just something that you just, if you try it, you're gonna fail so much, purely because of how the weapon mechanics has been set up. The gun mechanics now, it's not just horizontal recoil you've really got to worry about it, but if you move at all, you know, sorry, it's not just vertical recoil you've got to worry about now, but if you're moving or you're strafing, you know, the horizontal recoil, the penalty you get from that is actually quite significant, and it makes quite a difference. You know, if you're playing with this weapon as well, you know, it's not bad fire rate, but it's not the best. You know, you've got guns like the AEK. They're firing at 900 rounds per minute, or the FAMAS 1,000 rounds per minute. You know, and those guns are manageable at mid range. And if you run into someone who's half decent with those, and they're not firing on the move, you know, and they're not mag dumping, they're tap firing, you know, they're controlling their fire, they're burst firing. You know, those. And they're staying stationary while they're doing it, they're going to get a lot more rounds on target, which, you know, unfortunately just means they will be taking you out. So it's so important, even more so when you're playing with weapons that are probably not quite as fast as some of the others in this game, that you really do stop. And you'll notice in all of these clips so far, you know, one of the things I'm doing is stopping before a fire, and it's the only way you can be absolutely guaranteed to be getting your bullets where you want them to go. Any sort of movement, slightest deviation, and you know, you will start suffering, and suffering a great deal. And I think that's part of the reason a lot of players, you know, they come into the game and they're really struggling. They're finding something's changed. I'm guessing, you know, I used to strafe a lot when I first started playing BF4. I could not understand why I was dying all the time, and one of the things was I was so used to strafing from side to side when I was firing, and that was just to make myself a little bit more of a moving target, a little bit of a harder target to hit. But what I didn't realise it was doing, it was also putting me at a distinct disadvantage when I was coming into gun battles. And once you figure that out, you do realise how much of a disadvantage you're putting yourself at. So stopping and firing, it's so much better. And you know what, it's really improved the gameplay. If you ask me, it's really helped improve the gameplay, because players are now actually watching corners, they're firing from cover. They've slowed the gameplay down. I think that's an intentional thing. I think they've definitely intentionally tried to slow the gameplay down from what I felt was becoming a bit too run and gunny in BF3. You know, we all know there's another franchise which is very very popular for that sort of game style, and if that's if you want to play that way, you know, that's fine, go ahead. You know, but there's a game out there that's been doing it for years and done it well. Let's be honest. It doesn't sell as many copies as that if it doesn't do something really well. So it's doing it well. Why copy it? You know, like Battlefield has its own style, and I'm really happy to say that, for me anyway, it looks like they're trying to be true to that in BF4. You know, it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but then BF3 wasn't exactly my cup of tea either. So from my point of view, I'm quite happy with what they've done. But again, going off topic as usual. But if you play with the AUG, you will find, if you just follow some of those basic rules, you'll be surprised at how well you do. Especially if you try and keep your engagements, limit your engagements to sort of mid-range, you will definitely be doing really well, because as fast as those guns, the other guns are, the AK, the FAMAS, and they are controllable at range. They still take a lot more control and skill to use. So there's not going to be many players you're going to come up against who will be able to control those weapons as well as, or as easily as you can control the AUG. Obviously, you've got a weapon like the ACE-23. Everyone knows that's basically the best gun in the game. There's no arguing that, and it's difficult to go up against someone who's using that. Especially you play even games of domination. The ACE-23 is dominating those rounds. Even the fast firing carbines struggle against it, but and forget about it if you're trying to use an LMG against them, a player who's using that. You don't even have to be a skill player. I'm not even going to say a skill player. That gun definitely needs looking at, and definitely needs balancing, because at the moment it definitely it doesn't take too much to do well with that gun. And there's enough players using it that that's a fairly obvious advantage. But this is about the AUG A3. I honestly really enjoy using this gun. I used to really enjoy playing with that gun in BF3, and things haven't changed much in BF4. Like I said, you probably noticed the Coyote sight I've got on there, and I definitely use that on most of my weapons. I can't stress that sight enough. It gives you so much more awareness of what's going on around you. It's so much easier to see people when you're using that sight. If you're using another sight, it's so easy to miss someone who's come, like sneaking around a corner, popped his head around a corner, or popped his head over a bit of a rooftop, or whatever it is. But with this sight, it gives you such a clear view. It's such a lovely field of view that any other sight just seems to be, just a poor cousin by comparison. And the one downside is the fact that in bright situations, or like explosions or something, it's very easy in part to lose that central dot. But you pick it up again, and once you've been using the sight for a while, it becomes fairly obvious where the centre of that sight is, and even in those split seconds when he's kind of lost the dot, you're kind of firing in the right range anyway. So, but yeah, no, AUG A3. If you haven't used it or you haven't tried it, you've read some other reviews or heard some other reviews saying it's not that great, it was nerfed, I'd say give it a go. Anyway, for now, that's me. I'm done. I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.